Before I dive into this video, I must give you a spoiler warning, for this video spoils all 3 Forerunner books, Cryptum, Primordium, and Silentium. You have been warned. 343 Guilty Spark, Monitor of Installation 04. Let's start out by taking a deeper look into his past and find out how he became a monitor of his Halo ring. His name was Chakis, a farm boy who was born on Earth, known back then as Erde Tyrene. He lived with his family outside the city of Merontic. During his birth, the Forerunner known as the Librarian, a life shaper, had imprinted him with a Gesh. A Gesh could be implanted among certain species, which allowed them to be given subconscious orders that would be specific to that species. This would mean he would be used in the Librarian's ultimate plan. After his father was killed and his family's crops had died, they moved into the city. He was quite the mischievous character, often robbing merchants and getting into fights for his own amusement. When he was barely 20 years old, a Florian visited Chakis, Florians being a subspecies of human. This Florian's name was Riser. He offered Chakis work if he were to stop getting into trouble, as Riser had seen someone like him in a dream. Chakis accepted, and over time the two became best friends, Riser giving Chakis work so he could support his troubled family. Their lives would change forever when a young manipular by the name of Bornstellar Makes Eternal Lasting arrived in Merontic. The young Forerunner was also manipulated by the Librarian to arrive on Earth and find Riser and Chakis. He was in search of precursor artifacts, asking Chakis and Riser to join him. They accepted, and they made their way to Jamonkin Crater, where they would soon find the Didact's Cryptum. Once opened, the reawakened Didact responded in anger, especially towards Chakis, since he reminded him of the humans he had fought in the Human Forerunner War. The Didact then took Bornstellar, Chakis, and Riser aboard his ship and flew to Chiram Hakor, the once capital of the ancient humans. Knowing of Chakis' Gesh, the Didact thought by taking them to these planets would awaken a memory in them that could help the Didact. When taken to Janjur Calm, the San Shayum's homeworld, they were captured by Faber, the Master Builder. Chakis and Riser were then sent to Installation 07, where Faber was performing secret experiments. During this time, Bornstellar and the Didact would meet again. The Didact would give Bornstellar a brevet mutation. Since Bornstellar was born of Builder class, he was supposed to be given a mutation by his father, but this mutation by the Didact, now known as the Didact seen in Halo 4, Bornstellar became a copy of the Didact. He would now be known as the Didact. On their way to Installation 07, the ship they were aboard became involved in a massive battle. The ship was destroyed, but Chakis, Riser, and a few Forerunners were able to make it off the ship safely in an escape pod, only to crash land onto Installation 07. A human by the name of Venevra found the injured Chakis and took care of him. He would later find out that the ring was home to many humans and subspecies of human, but some were brought here recently by the Master Builder to be used as tests for the Flood. After days on the ring, it was here that the consciousness of Forthencho, Lord of Admirals, an ancient human that had once battled the Didact in the Human Forerunner War, had awakened in Chakis' mind. He then befriended the girl who saved him, Venevra, and her grandfather, Gamelpar. They traveled the ring in hope of an escape, only to be taken into the lair of the rogue AI in control of the ring, 05-032 Mendicant Bias. It was here that Mendicant Bias stripped Chakis, Riser, and Venevra of their Gesh by using the Composer, causing severe physical and mental trauma. Mendicant Bias then offered them a choice to fight alongside him against his former masters with their Gesh, who had been transferred into monitors. Forthencho, now a monitor, lied to Mendicant Bias about Chakis truly accepting to side with him, and they were taken to the cartographer of the Halo. The first task they had to complete was to stop the ring from colliding with a planet, due to a security measure if the ring were to fall into the wrong hands. When it seemed all was lost, the Didact's fleet appeared. The Bornstellar Didact disabled Mendicant Bias with a failsafe code, and entered the cartographer to help Chakis steer the ring from a collision course. Barely missing the planet, the ring was heavily damaged and was in need of repairs back at the Ark. When the ring was entering the slipspace portal, Chakis became unconscious. A while later, Chakis awoke to find himself strapped to a life support system. The Didact informed him that he would not survive the trauma he took from Mendicant Bias stripping him of his Gesh, but his mind would be transferred into a monitor. Within a few moments, Chakis died and was uploaded into a monitor. As the Forerunners battled with the Flood, their end was near. the Isodidact was ready to fire the rings to rid the galaxy of the shaping sickness. This was a time when Chakis was assigned to Installation 04 and given the name 343 Guilty Spark by the Isodidact. His memories of being a human were suppressed as a security measure if he were to be captured by the Flood. The rings were fired, killing every sentient being in the galaxy. The Isodidact and a few remaining Forerunners departed from the galaxy out of shame at what had happened to their once great race. 343 Guilty Spark was transferred to Installation 04, where he would watch over the ring for over 100,000 years, only to be discovered in 2552 by the Pillar of Autumn. Guilty Spark would aid the humans, specifically Master Chief, in obtaining the index on Installation 04. He wanted the Chief to activate the ring after a flood outbreak had been caused by the Covenant. The Chief was stopped by Cortana, who knew of the ring's true purpose. After failing to meet protocol, 343 Guilty Spark turned on the humans. Master Chief and Cortana then managed to destroy the ring by detonating the Pillar of Autumn's engines. Guilty Spark then traveled to the planet the Halo ring was orbiting, Threshold. He made his way to the Forerunner mining platform that had been taken over by Covenant relic hunters. He would come in contact with Sessa Refume and teach him about the true history of the Forerunners and the ring's true purpose. Sessa would come to the conclusion that the prophets had lied to him and created a heretic faction of the Covenant. When the hierarchs heard of this, they sent the Arbiter and Ertas Vadum to the gas mine to kill the heretics. They would be successful and would capture 343 Guilty Spark while doing so. Spark was given to the prophets, Truth and Mercy, to be interrogated. He told them the true purpose of the Halo rings. After hearing his warnings, the prophets sent the Arbiter to Installation 05 to retrieve the activation index. When the Arbiter was successful, Tartarus, chieftain of the Brutes, surprised the Arbiter and betrayed him by taking the index and throwing the Arbiter down a hole. When Tartarus was about to activate the ring, Spark kept giving constant warnings of what he was about to do. Growing tired of the warnings, Tartarus let go of Spark and activated the ring. The humans and the Arbiter would team up and kill Tartarus to deactivate the ring. Once deactivated, the rings went into a standby mode and could only be reactivated again on the Ark. Guilty Spark would once again side with the humans to stop Truth from activating the rings on the Ark. As UNSC followed Truth to the Ark, the Master Chief and Arbiter stopped Truth from activating the rings with the help of the Flood that had crash-landed on the Ark. When it seemed everything was finished, the Covenant stopped, Truth dead. The Flood turned on our heroes, doing what they had done before. The Chief and Arbiter escaped the Ark's control room and found that the Ark had been rebuilding Installation 04. To rid the Ark of the Flood, the Master Chief planned to activate the ring, but 343 Guilty Spark was unhappy at his decision because a premature firing would completely destroy the unfinished ring. This threw Guilty Spark into a rage. After killing Sergeant Johnson, Guilty Spark tried to kill the Chief, only for him to be destroyed by a Spartan laser the Chief took from Johnson. Chief, Arbiter, and Cortana made it off the ring safely as it fired and exploded. A year later, in December of 2553, the UNSC Rubicon was sent on a secret covert ops mission to Installation 00, where Master Chief and the Arbiter destroyed Installation 04B. They discovered the heavily damaged remains of 343 Guilty Spark. The science team aboard the ship then questioned him about the Didact and the life of the Forerunners. Guilty Spark then explained that his memories of Chakis were restored after being destroyed, and told the scientists of his life and how he became a monitor. While doing so, he breached the ship's firewalls and took full control. He then put the entire crew to sleep and set off on a mission to find the Librarian, as he believed she was still alive after looking through data streams on the ship. The Rubicon's status still reads, "Missing in action."